Hi, everyone. This subject matter and video generally is not really a pleasant topic. Um, I feel so compelled to make it though, so I will do so. Started watching this Netflix show. I watched maybe 3 episodes. I didn't, if that. It's called Dear Child. It's German, but it could be Austrian. Sorry, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's German. It's based on a true story. And the true story it's based on is really fucked up. I don't even know if this can be on YouTube, but we'll see. So, the true story it's based on. Just this video is going to talk about imprisonment of women, rape of women, forced impregnation and birth that women experience. I probably said rape already, but anyway, that's what this video is talking about, okay? It's also talking about people who have a fetish for that kind of thing, which is not me, but men do. The show is called Dear Child. It's German. It's based on a true story. It's on Netflix right now. I've got to say, it's like pretty well shot. Like, they've got nice cameras and shit. They've got whatever camera you need to shoot things on, to put things on Netflix. It's got pretty decent cinematography, etc. The true story it's based on is of this actual guy who, again, I'm sorry, I can't remember if he was in Austria or Germany, but one or the other, who kidnapped his own daughter, locked her up in his basement, kept her there for over 10 years, impregnated her multiple times, raped her excessively, etc., and just held her captive in her own home, essentially. So it didn't end there though, because eventually she was found out because one of her kids had to go to the hospital, and the hospital was able to deduce that she was this like missing girl who was being imprisoned by her father. Anyway, the way that it got worse was the press. The press came after her. The press came after her and her kids. The press probably continues to do so. I don't know if she's in some sort of witness protection program. I assume they have some sort of similar thing in Germany or Austria. I can't remember. Oh my god, this could have even been in Switzerland. I'm sorry, I don't know. Pretty sure it was Germany or Switzerland though, but what the fuck? What in the fuck? Okay? I went to film school. I went to film school over 10 years ago. And I wasn't in the filmmaking program. I wasn't in the directing program or the acting program. So we didn't like make films. I put films in quotes because like making shorts that are shot on a camera, making short videos aren't really films, but anyway. We only did that like one time. It wasn't an ongoing thing for us. It was an ongoing thing for the people who were in the acting programs and in the directing programs. And obviously, I was crossing paths with people who were in those programs. And I kept hearing girls, women my same age, say that they were doing some film with someone in the directing program, and this was multiple different women. Okay, this was multiple different women at various points in the academic school year who were always doing being in a film, a short student film about a woman being raped. I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not. This wasn't one film where that was happening. This was multiple student films where the dude making them, I'm saying it because it was actually always a dude. I'm not exaggerating. There weren't a lot of women in the directing programs, but there were a few, and they didn't make short films like this. Multiple men, and your what you can do was very limited, okay? Because you couldn't hire actors that weren't in the filming, that weren't in the school. I guess you could, but no one did. You didn't have a budget really, so you were working on like $0, limited talent, limited resources, etc. Okay, and this is also almost always a very short film, right? But so you couldn't do really special effects or like have extravagant props or that kind of thing. So I'm saying you're working with a limited color palette, if you will. And so many of these guys that I went to film school with were working with this limited color palette, like I said, working with limited options. And the films that they had to the videos that they had to create were given with like a prompt, like you have to shoot a black and white film, you have to shoot this type of film, etc., etc. And all these fucking guys at multiple points with different actors, different directors, different prompts were always like, I want to make a film about a woman being raped. I want to get one of the actresses in the acting program and have her either pretend to be raped or pretend to have been raped or be being raped in my film. And like that really disturbed me when I heard about that. Obviously it happened over time, 2 or 3 months where I noticed it was an obvious pattern. Obviously, the school administration did nothing and they were just like, oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm saying that they had limited options. You're very constricted when you can only use, available actors in your school, in your place of learning, with a specific type of camera and limited time on your hands. But all these guys were like, I want to make one about a woman having been raped, or within the context of a woman's rape. And the school was just like totally indifferent towards it. Didn't care. They didn't care about a lot of shit, and they did stupid shit when we would have Q&A with people in the industry who would come and watch a movie. But I digress. That's beside the point. But I was just like, I heard about that, and I was like, that's really disturbing. I keep hearing this. Why are men doing this? And it's because they have a goddamn fetish for it. If they themselves aren't gonna rape a woman, aren't gonna assault a woman, they're gonna depict a woman acting like she's being assaulted. They're gonna depict a woman acting like she is going to be assaulted, is being assaulted, was assaulted, etc. And that's what I'm calling this fucking stupid ass show on Netflix. Dear Child. I'm calling it an imprisonment fetish. Because there was also a movie, I think with Brie Larson, called Room, where it's the same plot, but it's in movie form. And this has happened in real life multiple times. That same phenomenon has happened in real life multiple times, of men finding women, men finding girls, and even sometimes men finding boys, obviously, imprisoning them, abusing them into thinking that they're never going to get out, into, obeying them, and then having them as their sex slave for however long. I'm grossed out that this show exists. I'm not really surprised, though. I'm grossed out that people want to depict that sort of thing. I'm grossed out that this isn't really being examined. Check. Stop. Can you stop, please? Can you hold on? I'm really, really, really disturbed by this. First of all, I'm obviously very disturbed that this thing happens at all. That men kidnap and imprison women and, rape them ongoing. I also had to read this book for a class in college. I don't remember what the title was, but it was by J.C. Dugard. This woman who was kidnapped at 11 years old, and she was held captive by this guy for 19 years, and she had 2 kids by him. What the fuck? This is so disturbing, and this is so messed up. There's a slight plot twist in Dear Child, the show, that is slightly different from the actual case, but I don't care because all of it's fucked up. All of it is fucked up. Like, that should have been a red flag for my film school. They should have been like, wow, okay, let's have a timeout here and ask these young men why the fuck they keep depicting rape. Or examine why these young men keep depicting rape. Or let's just think about it on our own accord, why these men keep depicting rape. I had to stop watching. Sorry, it's coming to me. Handmaid's Tale. I watched, I think, all of season 1 and at least part of season 2. But even at season 1, I was like, oh, this episode was directed by a man. And every time the credits rolled, I'd be right. Because they would show this stupid shit that didn't matter, that was not relevant to the plot, that was sexual in nature, and was gross. And I was like, I'm not watching this shit. And that's actually a really cool book, but Margaret Atwood did not see gestational prostitution coming. Holy shit. It's worse than she imagined. That show really pissed me off, though, because I would have straight up killed Aunt Lydia. I would have killed that bitch, no problem. Like, I would have murdered her. And why wouldn't these other women have murdered her also? Like, these women are like, you barely even see armed guards in the show, and these women are just like taking it when like Aunt Lydia like burns this woman's hand, and these women are just like taking it when they all have. There's one point where they're supposed to stone a woman to death, and instead of stoning her to death, they all drop their rocks. Fam, we be shifting targets and making the target not the woman who didn't deserve to be stoned to death, but the woman who did. The cult leader, Aunt Lydia, and Dad. Oh, she's great. But yeah, I am real sick of people depicting this sort of thing and thinking it's okay. I am real sick of this being such a common thing to depict, because I've seen it more than once. And I'm also real sick of the press behaving the ways that they do. They're like, oh, this woman was raped. This woman was imprisoned for her entire adolescence and only got out as an adult. Let me interview her. Let me write a story for money on her. The fact that people just like take this. The fact that people are just like, oh yeah, let's just show about something with this woman being imprisoned. I don't like talking about this. I don't like the fact that these things are happening currently. I don't like that all the videos I want to talk about, all the videos that I make that I love and that I want to make, like, don't get as many views. I'm like real frustrated, like, in more than one way right now. Okay? Depicting the victims as victims is only encouraging more predators to prey upon the victims. Do you understand me? This is in line with pornography. This exploitative by nature subject matter. Like, forget about the actual show. If someone writes a script that's like, let's tell the story of this woman who was imprisoned and raped ongoing by her father, here's the script. That in itself is a problem. Okay? And like, people are like, golly gee whirlikers, I wonder why the entertainment industry is suffering. I wonder why this, I wonder why that, I wonder why the other thing. Maybe it's fucking because you keep depicting women in these ways. That's Danny. Maybe it's fucking because you keep depicting rape like it's some fun activity for a guy to do with his house prisoner. Maybe it's because you keep writing stories as a journalist and publishing them and posting them and sharing them with little to nothing to offer other than the fact that this bad thing happened. I don't know what the solution is here. I wish I could tell you. I wish that I could offer a solution. I guess one of the solutions that I would offer is like, why? I'm trying to figure out how to word this in a way that's not going to be a problem, but I know it's going to be a problem. I feel like every show on Netflix is like geared towards 12-year-olds. Or maybe 10-year-olds. Or maybe like 16-year-olds. Maybe sometimes 21-year-olds. I feel like there's not a lot of like mature, intelligent subject matter covered in maybe a dramatized way because we like to see the things dramatized, apparently. So maybe more of that subject matter could be developed. I was actually going to make a whole different video about this at the like mid-level budget movie of like, you know, a movie that isn't super duper low budget and a movie that isn't super duper high budget stupid Marvel shit. A movie that's like a midway budget, 70, probably 20 to $80 million. I'm adjusting for inflation here. All my favorite movies just about are mid-level budget. Truman Show, Gremlins, mid-level budget. These are character-driven dramas, character-driven stories, okay, where we don't get shit we don't need. Patch Adams, that's another one, mid-level. I am just really disturbed by this imprisonment fetish, and I am really disturbed that people keep making these shows, and I'm really disturbed that they're on Netflix. And I'm really disturbed that it seems like we're kind of just throwing spaghetti at walls at this rate and hoping that something catches. But it's like, where do we go? So, like I said, I don't know how to address this. I don't know how to properly address this phenomenon. I don't know how to be like, let's not make so many shows about raping women. Let's not make so many shows about women being totally fucked over. I wanted to make this a short, but I'll mention it now, and I could make it a short, is like, this whole like push for diversity, first of all, it's a problem. Second of all, it's not being done that well. And third of all, so we have a push for diversity, okay, that existed. Apparently that only means black folks. Like, black folks equals diversity. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. We can definitely put black folks in movies. That's not a problem. Why the fuck are we making an Emmett Till movie? I don't want to see that depressing, horrible shit. Who the fuck is like, let's make an Emmett Till movie about a horrible thing where a little boy gets murdered, but it'll have black folks in it? What the fuck? You're banking off of misery. You're banking off of crimes. You're banking off of ill will. It's not good. I guess that's all I want to say about the imprisonment fetish, is that it's not good. We should stop and think about it more.